Manic Street Preachers are a Welsh alternative rock band, formed in 1986 in Blackwood and consisting of James Dean Bradfield, Nicky Wire and Sean Moore. They are often colloquially known as the Manics, or simply, Manics. Originally a quartet, the band became a trio when primary lyricist and rhythm guitarist Richey Edwards disappeared on February 1, 1995. Their early combination of androgynous glam imagery and critical social lyrics about culture, alienation, boredom and despair gained them a loyal following and cult status. Following Edwards' disappearance, Bradfield, Moore and Wire persisted with Manic Street Preachers, and went on to gain critical and commercial success. They have won more than 7 NME awards, including the Lifetime Achievement a Eurocubed Godlike Genius Award a Eurocubed, 8 Q Awards and they have won the BRIT Awards 4 times. To the present day the band has sold more than 10 million albums worldwide and they are one of Britain's premier rock bands. The band's later albums retained a leftist politicization and intellectual lyrical style while adopting a broader alternative rock sound. Altogether, they have garnered 11 top 10 albums, 15 top 10 singles and have reached number 1 on the UK charts 3 times a Euro with their 1998 This Is My Truth Tell Me Yours album, the 1998 If You Tolerate This Your Children Will Be Next single and the 2000 The Masses Against the Classes single. History, formation and early years. The band was formed in 1986 in Oakdale Comprehensive School, Blackwood, South Wales. During this time, Bradfield had tried writing lyrics but this later changed and Wire wrote all their earliest lyrics, leaving Bradfield, alongside the classically trained Sean Moore when he joined, to write the music. Original bassist Flicker left the band in early 1988, reportedly because he believed that the band were moving away from their punk roots. The band continued as a three-piece, with Wire switching from guitar to bass, and in 1988 they released their first single, Suicide Alley. Edwards joined the band on guitar and often made contributions to lyrics with Wire, designing record sleeves and other artwork as well as driving the band to and from gigs. In 1990, they signed a deal with label Damaged Goods Records for one EP. The 4-track New Art Riot EP attracted as much media interest for its attacks on fellow musicians as for the actual music. With the help of All or Nothing management, the Manics signed to indie label Heavenly Records. The band recorded their first single for the label, entitled Motown Junk. Their next single, You Love Us, sampled Krzysztof Penderecki's Threnody to the victims of Hiroshima as well as Iggy Pop. The video featured Nicky Wire in drag as Marilyn Monroe and contained visual references to the film Betty Blue and Aleister Crowley. In a now legendary interview with then NME journalist Steve Lamacq, Edwards carved the phrase "for real" into his arm with a razor blade to prove their sincerity. He was taken to hospital and received a total of 17 stitches. Columbia Records of Sony Music UK signed the band shortly afterwards and they began work on their debut album, Generation Terrorists to the Holy Bible. Their debut album, Generation Terrorists, was released on the Columbia Records imprint. The liner notes contained a literary quote for each of the album's 18 songs and the album lasted just over 70 minutes. The record contained 6 singles and sold 250,000 copies. The second album, Gold Against the Soul, displayed a more commercial, grungy sound which served to alienate both fans and the band itself. It was released to mixed reviews but still performed well, reaching number 8 in the UK album chart. The nature of the lyrics also changed, with Edwards and Wire eschewing their political fire for introspective melancholy. By early 1994, Edwards' personal difficulties became worse and began to affect the other band members as well as himself. He was admitted into the Priory in 1994 to overcome his problems and the band played a few festivals as a three-piece to pay for his treatment. The group's next album, The Holy Bible, was released in August to critical acclaim, but sold poorly. The album displayed yet another musical and aesthetic change for the band, largely featuring Army-Navy uniforms. Musically, the band had shifted to a darker, post-punk influenced and almost gothic sound. In support of the album, the band appeared on Top of the Pops, performing its first single, Faster, which reached no A16. The performance was extremely controversial at the time, as the band were all dressed in army regalia. Bradfield wore a terrorist-style balaclava. At the time, the band was told by the BBC that they had received the most complaints ever. Shortly after, on February 1, 1995, Edwards disappeared from the Embassy Hotel at Bayswater Road in London after checking out at 7 a.m. His car was found abandoned February 17 at the Severn View service station near the Severn Bridge. A car park attendant reported it had been there for 3 days. Police search of the car revealed that it had been lived in for a few days. Edwards was never seen again, although the band have kept a percentage of the royalties aside should he return. He was declared presumed dead on November 23, 2008 by his family. The band commented that they respect their decision. Manic Street Preachers was put on hold for 6 months and disbanding the group was seriously considered, but with the blessing of Edwards' family, the other members continued. Everything Must Go to Know Your Enemy, the first album without Edwards, Everything Must Go contained 5 songs either written or co-written by Edwards, and was released to overwhelmingly positive reviews. The bulk of the lyrics were written solely by Wire, including number 2 hit single A Design for Life. The album was shortlisted for the 1996 Mercury Prize Award for Best Album, and won the band 2 BRIT Awards for Best British Band and Best British Album, as well as yielding the hit singles Australia, Everything Must Go, and Kevin Carter. 1998's This Is My Truth Tell Me Yours was even more successful across most of the world, eventually selling over 5 million copies and giving the band their first #1 charting as well as first #1 single in If You Tolerate This Your Children Will Be Next. It was written about the Spanish Civil War and was inspired in equal parts by George Orwell's homage to Catalonia and the Clash's Spanish bombs. The album also included the hit singles You Stole the Sun from My Heart, Tsunami, and The Everlasting. Again, the Manics won the Best British Band and Album Awards at the BRIT Awards in 1999. After headlining Glastonbury Festival, T in the POC and V Festival, the band played the Leaving the 20th Century concert at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff on December 31, 1999, the first concert to be held there, with 57,000 people attending and the final song being broadcast around the world by satellite as part of 2000 Today. In 2000, they released the limited edition single The Masses Against the Classes. Despite receiving little promotion, the single hit the #1 position on the UK singles chart, beating You Know What's Up by Donald Jones to the top. The catalogue entry for the single was deleted on the day of release, but the song nevertheless spent 7 weeks in the UK chart. In 2001, they became the first popular Western rock band to play in Cuba, and met with President Fidel Castro. Their concert and trip to Cuba was documented and then released as a DVD entitled Louder Than War. At this concert they revealed many tracks from their upcoming 6th album, Know Your Enemy, which was released on March 19. The song Ocean Spray was written entirely by James about his mother's battle with cancer. The first singles from the album, So Why So Sad, and Found That Soul, were both released on the same day. The final single, Let Robeson Sing, was released later. The Manics also headlined Reading and Leeds Festival. The Greatest Hits album Forever Delayed was released in 2002, containing 2 new songs, Door to the River, and the single There by the Grace of God. An album of B-sides, rarities and cover versions was released in 2003 entitled Lipstick Traces, which contains the last song the band worked on with Edwards. Lifeblood to Journal for Plague Lovers, the band's 7th studio album, Lifeblood, was released on November 1, 2004 and reached No. 13 on the UK album chart. Critical response to the album was mixed. Tony Visconti helped the band produce 3 songs on the album, which was followed by a UK arena tour in December 2004. A 10th anniversary edition of the Holy Bible was released on December 6, 2004. Which included a digitally remastered version of the original album, a rare US mix and a DVD of live performances and extras including a band interview. In April 2005, the band played a number of shows as the Past Present Future Tour announced as their last for at least 2 years. The band released an EP entitled God Save the Manics with only a limited number of copies available and given out to fans as they arrived at the venue. After all the copies were gone, the band made the EP available as a free download on their website. In September, the band contributed the new track Leviathan to the War Child charity album Help! A Day in the Life. The band's 8th studio album, Send Away the Tigers, was released on May 7, 2007 on Columbia Records. It entered the official UK album charts at No. 82. Critical response to the album was largely positive, with some critics hailing the album as the band's best in a decade. A free download of a song entitled Underdogs from the album was made available through the group's website on March 19, 2007. The first official single released from Send Away the Tigers was Your Love Alone Is Not Enough, which features Cardigan's vocalist Nina Persson. The second single, Autumn Song, and a third, Indian Summer, were released in August. The band released a Christmas single in December. The Ghosts of Christmas was available as a free download on their official website throughout December 2007 and January 2008. In February 2008, the band were presented with the Godlike Genius Award at the NME Awards ceremony. The 9th Manics album, Journal for Plague Lovers, was released on May 18, 2009 and features lyrics left behind by Edwards. Wire commented in an interview that there was a sense of responsibility to do his words justice. The album was released to positive critical reviews and reached number 3 on the UK album chart. On June 18, 2009 the Manics officially opened the new Cardiff Central Library. Postcards from a Young Man and National Treasures. On June 1, 2010, the band announced on their homepage that a new album called Postcards from a Young Man will be released on September 20. James Dean Bradfield said that the album would be an unashamedly pop-orientated affair, following 2009's Journal for Plague Lovers. "We're going for big radio hits on this one," he told NME. "It isn't a follow-up to Journal for Plague Lovers. It's one last shot at mass communication." On July 26, the first single from the new album, It's Not War, Just the End of Love, was played on the breakfast shows of BBC Radio 2, BBC 6 Music, XFM and Absolute Radio. It was released on September 13. The title had previously been suggested as a working title for the album by Nicky Wire. 3 collaborations were also confirmed on the band's website later that day. Duff McKagan would appear on A Billion Balconies Facing the Sun, Ian McCulloch will add guest vocals to Some Kind of Nothingness, and John Cale will feature on Auto Intoxication. The band embarked on a UK tour to promote the album, starting in Glasgow on September 29, 2010. British Sea Power were the support act for the band on the tour. 2 further singles have been released from the album: The McCulloch featuring Some Kind of Nothingness, and the title track Postcards from a Young Man. The band initially announced that their next album has the working title 70 Songs of Hatred and Failure and will sound very different from Postcards. "Your next album will be pure indulgence. There's only so much melody stored in your body that you can physically get onto one record. It was just so utterly commercial and melodic." However, Nicky Wire contradicted this in 2011 while doing promotion for their greatest hits compilation National Treasures. When asked why the band was releasing the compilation, Wire stated, "It's just the end of an era. Not the end of a band. We're gonna disappear for quite a long time." A 38-track singles compilation, National Treasures The Complete Singles, was released on October 31, 2011, preceded by the release of cover single This Is the Day, originally by The. On December 17, the band performed all their singles in full at the O2 Arena in London. In April and May 2012, the band embarked on a European Greatest Hits tour. On October 10, the band announced via Facebook that a film interview documentary about their album Generation Terrorists will be screened at 2012's Omicron N Festival as a Welsh exclusive. The film was shown at Chapter Arts Centre on Saturday 20 October, with all profits being donated to Young Promoters Network. The film was made available in the 20th anniversary reissue of Generation Terrorists, a box set that includes the remastered album alongside 3 CDs featuring demos, B-sides, a 28-page booklet, a 10-inch vinyl and the documentary. On October 16, the band played an acoustic version of Damn Dog for Dermot O'Leary's show on BBC Radio 2. Rewind the film and Futurology. In May 2013, the band announced an Australasian tour for June and July, that would see them play their first ever show in New Zealand. This tour coincided with the British and Irish Lions rugby tour to Australia, and the Melbourne concert on the eve of the second test featured Lions centre Jamie Roberts as a guest guitarist on You Love Us. In May 2013, the Manics released information about their most recent recording sessions, saying that they had enough material for 2 albums. The first would be almost exclusively without electric guitars. The name of the first album and title track was revealed to be Rewind the Film on July 8. The lead single of the album, the song Show Me the Wonder, was released on September 9, 2013 to a positive critical reception. The album itself was released on September 16, 2013 and reached number 4 on the UK album chart. The second single of the album, Anthem for a Lost Cause, was released on November 25, 2013. The other album, Futurology, the band's 12th studio album, was released on July 7, 2014. The lead single from the album, Walk Me to the Bridge, was released as a digital download on the day of the announcement, on April 28. The album sold about 20,000 copies in its first week and reached number 2 on the UK album chart. The band were very pleased by the critical response that the album had and said that they were going to take another break before they release another record. Solo work. In late 2005, both Bradfield and Wire announced that they intended to release solo material prior to a new album by the band. A free download of Nicky Wire's debut solo offering I Killed the Zeitgeist was posted on the band's website for just one day, Christmas Day 2005. The album was officially released in September 2006. It charted at no. 130 in the UK. The sound of the album, which Nicky referred to as his nihilistic anti-everything album, was inspired by, among others, New. The Plastic Ono Band, Einster 1/4 Zen Nu Baten, The Modern Lovers, Richard Thompson and Lou Reed. Only one official single was released, Break My Heart Slowly, which charted at no. 74. Nicky toured small intimate venues across the UK with his band The Secret Society, affording fans the opportunity of seeing their hero at close quarters. Bradfield's solo album, The Great Western, was released in July 2006. It reached no. 22 in the UK. The sound of the album was inspired by, among others, Jeff Beck, Badfinger, Simple Minds and McCarthy. 2 singles were released, That's No Way to Tell a Lie in July and Then an English Gentleman in September. The latter is in remembrance of the first Manics manager Philip Hall, to whom the Holy Bible had been dedicated. James toured the album with a band that included Wayne Murray, who would subsequently play second guitar for Manics live performances. James' solo gigs featured covers of the Clash songs Clamp Down, and The Card Sheet, both from the album London Calling. In a later interview, when the band were collectively asked what they had learned from making a solo album, Sean Moore dryly quipped, "Not to do one." Collaborations and covers. The band released a split single in 1992 with the Fatima Mansions, a rock cover of Suicide is Painless, which became their first UK top 10 hit. They have recorded many cover versions of songs by other artists, primarily as B-sides for their own singles. Bands to whom the group have paid tribute in this way include The Clash, Guns N' Roses, Alice Cooper, Happy Mondays, McCarthy, Chuck Berry, Faces and Nirvana. The band's first musical appearance since Edwards' departure was recording a cover of Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head for the Help album, a charity effort in 1995 in support of aid efforts in war-torn Bosnia and Herzegovina. The Lightning Seed song Waiting for Today to Happen, from their 5th album, Dizzy Heights, was written by Nicky Wire and Ian Browdy. That same year, James Dean Bradfield and Dave Iringa produced Northern Uproar's first single, Roller Coaster Rough Boys. The 808 State song Lopez features lyrics by Wire and vocals by Bradfield. It is featured on their greatest hits album, 808 88 98. Kylie Minogue's 6th album, Impossible Princess, features 2 songs co-written and produced by the Manics, Some Kind of Bliss, and I Don't Need Anyone were produced by Bradfield and Dave Iringa. Bradfield provided backing vocals, bass guitar and production for the Massive Attack song Inertia Creeps, which features on their successful third album, Mezzanine. Patrick Jones's album of poetry set to music, Commemoration and Amnesia, features 2 songs with music written by Bradfield, the title track and the Gorilla Tapestry. Bradfield plays guitar on both songs. Furthermore, the track Hiraeth features a section called Spoken Word, in which Nicky Wire talks about Welsh identity. In February 2006, the band contributed a cover version of the instrumental to the album Still Unravished, a tribute to the June Brides. In February 2008, the Manics covered Rihanna's hit pop song Umbrella. Their version appeared on a CD titled NME Awards 2008 given away free with a special souvenir box set issue of NME magazine, which went on sale February 27. Additionally, the Manics version of the song was made available on iTunes since March 5, 2008. Despite being chart-eligible, the release was not intended as an official single. 2 further versions were later made available on iTunes and now comprise a 3-track Umbrella EP. James Dean Bradfield and Nicky Wire contributed an original song, The Girl from Tiger Bay, to Shirley Bassey's 2009 studio album, The Performance. Band members, timeline. Discography. Studio albums, Generation Terrorists, Gold Against the Soul, The Holy Bible, Everything Must Go, This Is My Truth Tell Me Yours, Know Your Enemy, Lifeblood, Send Away the Tigers, Journal for Plague Lovers, Postcards from a Young Man, Rewind the Film, Futurology, Awards, References. External links, official website,